Hey guys, this system is so cool that I'm going to do a dedicated video to it, that I actually do genuinely believe that if we praise this system enough and the developers hear it, that this could actually go widespread throughout the game. And I think that that would address a lot of the game's issues, especially with things like sticky content, longevity of content, quote-unquote, what's mid-core and more. But as you can see, I have prepared slides, and I'm going to keep myself on track as much as possible because, let's face it, I think that this is absolutely fucking cool, and I really do believe that this potentially has the potential to change Final Fantasy XIV forever. And just like you raise criticisms if you're worried about someone that you love, which is why I'm raising the criticisms like, hey, I don't want to spam Broil and Scholar, hey, I want a pet job. It's not because I hate the game, it's because I love the game and I want to play it more. But getting to the slides, so they introduced, or I suppose the first slide, at the end of the deep dungeon, they have a boss called the Final Verse. And then they introduced a new quote-unquote difficulty, kind of think about like Savage, but they called it Quantum instead. And so this boss has a Quantum mode. The Quantum mode is special. So you get what is called offerings, and then you use offerings to even get into this content, which requires up to 4 players, or 4 players. And so 15 offerings at least are required, and you get them through request, although we're not so worried about that detail here. The cool thing is these offerings come in 5 different flavors. You have spirit, spices, grain, light, and lilies. And, I mean, interchange whatever name. And the cool thing, also, is of all the 5 types, you can get up to 8 of them for a total of 40 total offerings. What this offering does is that it scales up the damage, stats, or HP of the boss. So, as you can see here, physical, light, dark, fire damage, and the maximum HP. And so, depending on how many of each of these offerings you give, it will potentially like fill out this entire chart here, which obviously is going to be, it's going to hit a lot harder and be much more quote-unquote like HP spongy, dare I say. I don't think they'd make it spongy, but it'll last longer. What is especially cool is that the developers have absolutely been hearing feedback, and I know that this is something that a lot of games where it's like, hey, just adding HP onto something doesn't make it more difficult. The developers actually made it so that the mechanics of the actual boss are going to be changing depending on how many offerings you give it. And so say you're going to get a totally different set of mechanics if you get like 40, and I believe that they said during the live letter that it can go all the way up to ultimate level mechanic, which I think is absolutely fucking badass. And so, in summary, you can control how many stats the boss has as well as the mechanics that the boss does. And that is a massive amount of control. I don't think that I have ever seen this level of control in a video game, whether it be an online game, whether it be an offline game before. This is actually astounding. And so, why is this important? So, not a World of Warcraft shill video, but this is factually a competitor to the game, and this is actually why I personally play World of Warcraft is Mythic Plus. I don't actually like raiding in World of Warcraft. You can convince me to do it. I fucking resent it. But their Mythic Plus dungeon system, on the other hand, I think is brilliant, and it's been something that I've really want to see in Final Fantasy XIV because I'll explain it later, but midcore is a pretty ambiguous term, right? What's midcore? It's really hard to pin down, and so a system like Mythic Plus, or like the system that we're seeing here with the offerings, is actually really cool because it allows you to be flexible and then address an ambiguous term like what is midcore. And so what is Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft is it is dungeons that scale in difficulty depending on how much of a plus amount you have, and it can do +0, which is really easy. It's honestly genuinely really easy, like the most casual players can literally drool their way through it. And then you can go all the way up to like +15 when many players go way above that. Like there's I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's literally competitions on how high you can push and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty unanimously agreed upon that Mythic Plus is one of the more popular MMORPG activities. It has a massive following, and I don't want to even call it a cult following. It has like a massive mainstream following in it. It's actually amazing that Final Fantasy XIV hasn't adopted this, as well as it has the concept of affixes, which is special dungeon modifiers that like go, and such as like the floor is lava, like you'll see on the floor little lava puddles, and like if you stand on it or stand near it, it'll like burst and deal damage to you. And obviously when you're doing higher plus keys, it's going to hurt really bad, and so it becomes an extra level of complexity on top of the dungeon rather than just like stats or just mechanics of the mobs. And so like I was saying before, mid-core is a pretty ambiguous definition, and this fits mid-core as you decide how far you go. If all you can do is a +7, who the fuck's gonna judge you? Like, just enjoy it. Just do it. If +7 and you can't do a +8, then you found your zone, and maybe you can improve and get to a +8. It is a nice training ground, and that's why what I really view this system as like a really good way to measure where you're currently at and then improve. I think that this is actually a fantastic system to improve players. It's just like, hey, maybe all you can do today is a +1 or a +0. Maybe like in a week or a month of practice, maybe you get up to like a +4, and you shouldn't feel shame about that. You are at your own treadmill, at your own pace in this game. And so I view this more as a learning tool than anything. And some people might be like, oh, but that's super optimistic. But is it? Like, you're just doing things at your own pace and you're learning. And so I view this more as a fantastic learning opportunity, if I'm quite honest. So, part 2 is... God, I guess I kind of covered it. +0 is great for casuals, and then mid-core can be +1 to +7 and beyond. And then another thing is it's fantastic. Actually, this is a huge point. This is fantastic for content creators and streamers. Like, if you're looking to prove yourself, or like do a stream, or do like a challenge or something like that, it's amazing to stream like Mythic Plus and see how hard you can push, because like you're literally proving something. And the nice thing is it's also a smaller group, so you can like do it with a few friends, and you don't need to worry about something like World of Warcraft raids go up to fucking 20 people. I fucking hate World of Warcraft raiding. But you don't need to worry about that, and it's a lot easier, obviously, to get 4 people together. Well, Mythic Plus is 5, to be clear, but in Final Fantasy XIV, when we're talking about, like, the current content or current dungeons we have, it's 4. So it's a lot smaller of a group, much more tight-knit, so much easier to do. And then, obviously, there are actual more formal events like Mythic Dungeon International and more like the Arena Championship. And obviously there's a lot of others, and they do like charity drives and stuff like that. And so this is this is what I was saying before. It's not such a fringe activity. It's much more mainstream, and like it's something that actually is really fun, and it's something that you can enjoy whether you're hardcore, whether you're casual. And so I think that honestly Mythic Plus is one of the more healthy systems, and it's like I view it, like I said before, like I view it as a treadmill. Obviously World of Warcraft's implementation has some issues like the key system, but let's get into that not in this video. I think the key system's shit. Okay, there you go. Nice thing about offerings, let's talk about that, because people will be like, oh my god, what happens? So if you look at the second to the bottom line, yeah, you can't see my blue cursor. Shit, OBS isn't covering it. So you see that second to the bottom line, offerings will be consumed only upon successfully defeating the boss and opening the treasure coffer. So we don't need to worry about key depletion here, or some fucking asshole junking your key. So Final Fantasy XIV devs thought ahead on that, so your offerings aren't going to be fucked. Fantastic. That's actually awesome. And so now I'm going to say, see the parallels. And so the crazy thing is we're getting more fine-tuned control with this, because we're controlling like exactly which boss stats we want. More fire damage? Holy shit. More light damage? More HP? What if we don't want more HP? Like, we can skew this graph, and that is crazy, as well as like the mechanics change depending on how many offerings. Like, this is a level of control that like we don't have anything like that in World of Warcraft, that fine of control. Like, our pluses are very much not this. This is, like, the finest level of control. Like, think of each of these as, like, a knob that you pull. That is wild. Okay, so why this matters for more than just this form of content is because this is a system. This is a system that can be extended to other forms of content, and we have gone formally announced now that there is a new criterion coming in patch 7.4. So things like another Aloe Island Savage criterion. This also could impact future dungeons. Remember, we're getting one roughly every 5 months, and so that's one every patch. The one coming with 7.3 is going to be the Mizo Terminal. And so imagine, instead of staggering jump in difficulty, we're going to talk about criterion and variant here. So variant is I'd call it a +0 if I'm honest. Oh my god, what a jerk. It's a +0. You really can do that on whatever. But then when you go to criterion, this fucking whale, you see this pride gay whale, and I can say that because I'm a gay, but fucking pride fish was really difficult. Like, it had these geometric crabs fall down and then like knock you up in the bubbles and stuff, and I got past it. Like, it was so cool. But wickedly hard, wickedly hard. And so instead of that jump from variant to criterion, which is like super huge, we now have more gradings, more ladder steps. And so I can tell you, I couldn't jump up to friggin' criterion instantly. Like, I progged that shit and it was like tough, and I eventually got it. But imagine, I think that I could imagine myself having a lot better of a time stepping forth through like a +4, +5, +6, and then eventually getting to that final stage. And that's where that ladder system and this granular control that you see down here, that's really powerful, because that gives you that, and then it's more of a training tool at that point. And then you can be like, yes, I cleared this at a +5, sweet. Okay, maybe next week you and your friends try a +6. That's the beauty of this system. And oh yeah, affixes and WoW. Like, you remember that floor is lava where the lava things come up and then you need to move out or it does damage? You could even have special offerings that could, like, if you activate or contribute an offering to a dungeon, then it activates it. Otherwise, it doesn't activate it. And remember, in Final Fantasy XIV, they had the sanity to say that offerings will only be consumed when you successfully clear. I cannot emphasize what a big fucking deal that is, because no one likes their key being fucked. That's one of the worst things in WoW. And obviously, 14 solve that, thank God, up above. And so truly what you are doing here is it's just levers that you're pulling up and down. And so if you clear a +6, you're like, hey, let's farm up and get a +7 next time for a dungeon. Let's say, what does my next slide see? Yes, good. Okay, I had the foresight before I started. So Miso Terminal is 7.3's dungeon. We know that we get one dungeon every 5 months. And so what does this allow you to do is it allows the developers to reuse assets, music, general combat designs, and then depending on the offerings that you give your dungeon, say we want Miso Terminal, and then we provide I don't know, like 40 offerings, and then like some affix offering. Now all of a sudden Miso Terminal has like a lot harder enemies with more HP, more damage and stuff, and so healers need to pump into the tank more. The tank needs to actually the DPS need to actually DPS, otherwise the healer's going to run out of gas, and then eventually the tank's going to fall and it's just going to crash. All of a sudden this becomes engaging content, and I say it, and it's never meant as offensive, but Expert Roulette, I'm pretty sure it's universally agreed upon. It's not that hard, and it's pretty boring. And like, Dungeons in 14, they're pretty. The music is amazing. The aesthetics, the theme, the lore bits that they have on the ground, it's so cool. But it's not challenging. There's no challenge to it. And so imagine every 5 months, because that's the cadence of when we get a dungeon, every 5 months we get system like this with an offering system. To say, make the offerings that you give the dungeons generic through all the dungeons. Say, like, there's not an offering specific to fucking Miso Terminal, but instead it's one that you can use for like all of the dungeons in like Dawntrail or something like that. That would be such a compelling argument, and that would increase the longevity of this. So all of those art assets, all of that music assets, all of the boss designs and everything else would be totally reusable. Developers win, players win, people get to like do that step ladder and train themselves more. And that's really the beauty of this system, is we all win. Like, we all win. And I think that that is what matters at the end of the day. Because let's face it, Final Fantasy XIV right now does have a content stickiness problem. Like, earnestly, how many people seriously did variant after they got all the shit for a variant and then that mount? I know very few, and I talk to literally like hundreds of people a day. Yeah, a lot of them are the same people, obviously, but like a lot of them are new faces. Like, I literally sometimes get totally fucking overwhelmed with the amount of messages I get. Like, not that I don't love them, I love messages, especially if you fall into the category of the title of this document. Please hit me up. Oh my god, I'm going to be cancelled on Twitter for that. But do it! Do it. Oh my god, I need a beefy Dom BS. Chunky and bearded. Oh my god. Oh, it's so funny because I'm pretty chunky and bearded myself right now, but fuck. Stay focused, Cold Sore. I have literally gone no sleep last night. I'm actually just running on hype right now. But point is, great system. Please to the developers, make this spread here. Make it apply to Meso Terminal. Well, obviously Meso Terminal is going to be released now, and they're obviously experimenting with it. But god dang it, in the future, please, I'm begging you, make this system happen. Because honest to God, you want to know why I play World of Warcraft? It's literally for the Mythic Plus system. That's been the only compelling content that has made me go to World of Warcraft. I fucking hate the raids. The raids are not for me. I do not like 20 people. I do not like the guild bullshit. I do not like the drama of the 20 people. It's just annoying. Mythic Plus is the only reason why I'm actually actively playing it now. Obviously, class design. Don't think that, like, I've been loving Demonology Warlock. I have been loving Beast Mastery Hunter. They're great. We need a full, not a limited, a full pet DPS. Or in Final Fantasy XIV, like, give me back, like, obviously Summoner's gone. I give up on Summoner, but give me, like, a pet DPS, a full pet DPS that I can actually do cool shit on. Like, but I digress. This video is about offerings. And this is a huge step forward. Like, all of this is such a positive that, like, I am left in a much, much, much more optimistic state about Final Fantasy XIV than before. And that's why I'm making this video, and hell, like, I don't want to say spread this video far and wide, but, bro, like, figure out however the hell you can tell the developers that this is a great idea, and let them know. Be loud. Like, so many people are loud about their criticism about Wooklamat. Like, fair. If you don't like them, you don't like them. Personally, I have no issue with Wooklamat, but for me, I want to see everyone spread with as much energy and as much fervor how great the system is, because casual players win, hardcore players win. Like, no one loses with this. The developers even win because their art assets and music are reused. Everyone wins, bro. Let's get this fucking hype out.